Dude, I was gonna drink the Dunkel, but it's warm.
All right. Well, I'll try the tank.
Do it.
Did you drink this one yet?
Oh, that was the Saison. I drank that one last week. Right?
Oh. Yeah, I just saw tank there, but yeah, okay, American Saison.
It's good, dude. You're gonna like it. It's a truly night. It's truly time for a truly nice and light.
Oh, dude, I had a crazy week. Busy in all aspects of my life, you know.
Yeah. I saw you sent me that picture of all those orders you're about to start shipping.
Yeah, so I'm gonna stock the store tomorrow morning, and I have a wait list. Just gonna email those people, and we'll see what happens. You know.
So those orders you're filling for the wait list already, or back order, or
so the wait list is just people that are interested. It's you know, they're not pre-orders. So they'll have to buy it if they still want it.
What in the world's on your bench right now?
Oh,
is that the dirt bike?
Yeah,
I flipped it around.
I flipped it around because the back end is done. So now I'm working on the front end. So I'm gonna do bearings. I got headset bearings. I'm going through every nut and bolt in this because, dude, everything was loose. You know, hardware store fasteners or wrong length or whatever. Right. So I'm just combing through it all. You know what I mean?
Good on you, man.
So yeah, I watched both your videos on the start whatever you want. Yeah, they're good, man. That's a lot of goddamn work, dude.
Yep.
Oh my God.
It is. It's been kind of cool to like go back through that content.
Yeah.
It's old, you know, it's from like 2019, 2020.
Wow, dude.
It's really, really old stuff. So it's just cool it was before the house, before the garage, you know, all that stuff. Right. Yeah. For anybody who doesn't know what we're talking about, I just started a new series on the 350 that I've been trying to finish. And so far on task with videos every week, 2 out. So nice. I just didn't want to, because like I could easily cram everything into one video, you know, it'd be like an hour long.
Yeah, don't do that.
So there's no point.
Yeah.
You know, 20 is already pretty long. It's long in general. So
yeah. But man, I didn't realize how like complicated the 350 engine really is. I mean, the top end looks pretty complicated, more complicated than say like an inline 4 or whatever. So there's a lot going on up there.
Oh yeah. Like they did that with like the 305 too. And everything has to kind of everything has a purpose and the time of which it goes in. Like when you're doing newer overhead cam stuff, loosen the tension on the cam chain, pop the cradle loose, and then you get the cam out. On this one, it's like this has to go in first, this has to go in a certain way, and then this and everything has to slide out. And it is complicated for what it is. Even though it's like the most basic, probably one of the more basic, besides like the Trail 70 or the CRF, you know, 50 years. Like those motors are pretty darn basic too.
Yeah.
They've had that motor for a long time, but it's an interesting motor. It's an interesting motor. But next video, we'll kind of go back into putting the top end back together, then kind of going into all that cool stuff that we did to it.
Nice.
And the finished result of stuff that I've been talking about. So I'm excited for that.
Cool.
Yeah, man.
So did you watch that Greasy Hands Preachers?
I did. I actually finished it last night.
Okay.
I started it a day or two ago, and then that was when I texted you. I was like, dude, you should check it out. It's pretty cool.
I watched it.
Cool.
I watched it several weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I forget who it was who recommended it. I forget the person's name, but it was good. I liked it.
Was it last episode that it was recommended, or was it the one before that?
Probably 2 episodes ago. I can't remember.
Yeah, the Greasy Hands Preacher. I found it on Amazon
Prime.
Yep,
me too. I was watching it on my phone in bed.
Yeah.
And it's funny because like one guy was saying how he was in the corporate world like in finance or whatever. And he's like, dude, I just want to get back to like working with my hands. And he became a mechanic, motorcycle mechanic. And like, dude, that's one thing I don't get at work either. So that's why I'm out here doing this stuff. You know, totally different than sitting at a desk.
Yep.
Pounding on a keyboard.
Yep.
Going to meetings.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I totally can relate. So it's cool to see that other people are in the same shoes as well.
Right. Yeah, it was there was a lot that I could kind of attach to in there, and it was just like the success that you feel, or the gratitude that you feel, not gratitude, but more like just like the satisfaction that you feel from like making a small little bracket or a part that like just like works and it fits right, and then there's nothing else interfering. And that's what those guys are doing all the time by hand. Some of the bikes I was looking at, like, that's kind of ugly. But the thing is, what's cool is like they made that, you know what I mean? And like, so I can relate to a lot of stuff like that where it was just really cool. Some of it's not in English, you're reading a lot of subtitles, but it's like a deep motorcycle build video, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Heartfelt.
So dude, you got any other recommendations for Netflix or Prime? Because I'm done with Ozark, obviously, a couple weeks. I'm done with Cobra Kai.
Yep.
And I need something to watch, man. What's good nowadays? I gotta write this down.
Well, on Amazon Prime, if you punch in Motorcycle Diary or Motorcycle Documentary, there's a bunch of cool ones. Like there's some chopper ones that I liked. Not like Chopper Town or anything like that, but like there's a lot of independent recordings. Like there was one where it was like the bastards. It's like something bastard is in the name, but it's like the Ugly Bastard Show or something like that. And it's just like people have like a budget of like $1,000 or something or less to like build whatever they can possibly build out of a motorcycle and chop it and do whatever they want. And some are really cool that they do with the time and the money that's provided. Like one guy chopped the heck out of a 350, a CB350. Beautiful too. It was painful to watch for a minute. But people just grabbing junk bikes and flipping everything around and chopping it off and like just building kind of cool bikes. That was kind of cool. But there's actually a lot on Amazon Prime. So just punch in Motorcycle Documentary, and if you stay away from like the mainstream ones, like, or not mainstream, but like the ones that are really well known, like Any Given Sunday and like those type of ones.
Yeah.
And get into the more of the independent rough cut style stuff. I think you'll enjoy some of those. There's some pretty cool chopper ones that I'm enjoying in there.
Cool. All right. Yeah.
I can't think of any names off the top of my head.
I'll have to check it out, man.
All right. Anything else we got to talk about?
Oh man, I don't know. You texted me the other day. You wanted to build a glass cabinet or buy one.
Yep.
So tell me what you want to do.
I'm going to build it. I actually looked at your plans yesterday. I didn't start watching the videos. I was kind of trying to find anything on like the stuff I need to start kind of collecting. And kudos to you, Matt. You've done a very good job as far as organizing every single tool and link that you need to get it from. I was very overwhelmed scrolling through all the parts and tool lists. I'm like, holy crap. Like, and I didn't look at all the links because I was like, I'm sure I can get most of this stuff in maybe a handful of places.
Yeah.
As far as the parts and stuff needed. So it was intimidating, but it was very well done. Just scrolling through and looking to see I'm sure a lot of stuff I might have as far as the tools go and that kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah. Like circular saw and all that. Yeah.
So I'm going to build one for sure.
Okay.
Out of Matt's plans. I'll probably document it once I get around to that. But that's the goal. I definitely want to get a dry cabinet in here, to help me out. I think that'd be cool.
I mean, what's cool is like you can build it, use it as a dry unit, and then if you ever want to go wet, you can.
Right.
Now, the only thing you should remember though is I made it only for wet
Right.
or my thought process, I'm like, oh, dude, this is only for vapor blasting. So the funnel is very shallow.
Okay.
For dry blasting, you see a very steep funnel. So if you go with that funnel and you're doing only dry, you may have to shift the media around
Okay.
towards the metering valve because it's not going to flow.
Got it.
You know what I'm saying?
And you can't have a deep one with
No,
wet?
you can.
Okay.
Oh, well, no, with wet you can't.
Okay, got it.
I've been thinking about maybe including, redesigning the funnel and adding prints to make a deep funnel. If people just want dry, then they can go that route. But no one's really asked. I think people are more interested in the wet. So
I don't think I want to do the wet system.
But to combat that, you can just overload the hopper with more media. Just put a bunch in there and it has to go down,
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah, I am sold on vapor honing, but I don't think that it's something that I want to get in. Like, it just seems so much more involved.
Yeah. So, how many hours do you think you spent painting the 350 engine? Prepping and
Probably
paint?
like maybe five or six total, whole motor.
Okay, because so for my 750, I vapor blasted everything, right?
Yeah.
It took 8 hours of blasting.
Okay.
So that's the delta in time that you're looking at versus, because you have to do something. You either have to paint it,
right,
or blast it, right? Those are your two options when you're rebuilding a motor, right? And you want to make it look nice.
Yep. Yeah, because you can't just blast some parts and not the others. It would just bug the hell out of me.
Yeah, or you can't leave it looking corroded and stuff. So
right. Yeah, just with like wire wheeling and then sanding imperfections in the case and then acetoning and then making sure it's like just completely clear of everything. That was the longest time. I'm using rattle can. So
yeah.
But then, if something goes awry or the rattle can doesn't turn out quite like you want it to, you gotta sand that back down again. So it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
It turned out good enough.
No, yeah.
Do you think that vapor honing it and then sanding it, then shooting it with paint would be quicker, or do you think it would just be more time?
So that 8 hours for that 750 and your 350 engine was in the same condition, the same age, same level of corrosion. Actually, mine was probably worse. But I did 2 passes in it. First pass was with a rough media, aluminum oxide, wet.
Yeah.
To cut the factory paint, cut the corrosion, but it leaves you with a dull finish. At that point, you either can spray it.
Okay.
Because it actually leaves a good profile for paint adhesion.
Yeah.
It's a little rough, a little dull. Or you swap the media over and you take another pass and you shine it up.
Got it.
So now dry blasting will do that too, right? You can do a rough pass. But with dry blasting, it's going to be dusty. So you got to do a
thorough cleaning.
You have to wash it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I had, because I had to, I media blasted the cylinder and some other parts because it was just like bad. So that, and you got to wash the crap out of that.
Yep.
And then wash it again.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Cool, man. I will be building one for sure using Matt's plans. I'll probably make a video for everybody. So I can bitch and complain about how bad the plans are. No, I'm sure it'll be super breezy. So I'm excited to do it, man.
Yeah, do it.
I am. Well, cool. Let's fire this thing up. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Broken Moto Show, episode 34. My name is Cody from MotorcycleMD. This is my buddy Matt from How to Motorcycle Repair, and we do a collaboration series called the Broken Moto Show, and where we talk about motorcycles, small engines, whatever, life as it comes, with the questions and stuff that's provided from you guys from emailing us in. Matt, what is that email?
So you can email in a question at askbrokenmoto@gmail.com. In the subject, your make and model, in the body, Just be very descriptive about what your issue is, and pictures and videos are a huge plus, and so is the mileage.
Right on. There it is. We also drink some beer. That we also have a beer fund that we'll talk about later with you guys, but no further explanation needed. Let's get right into it. Question 1. You want me to take this one?
Go for it.
All right. Let me pull it up. I think he might have some pictures.
Yep, I can.
Okay, so while I'm talking, you can go ahead and deal with all that because you're good at it. All right. Episode 34, question 1. Hi, Cody and Matt. I hope everything is well with you guys. I was a little worried about the show because there are 2 weeks already and no news about the show. That was when we took a little break because we had no questions from you guys. But thanks for the concern. I have a couple of questions, but let's first start from the beginning. I just bought a Honda CB750 1979. So this will be a dual overhead cam from what I believe. Oh, lots of questions. Weird. Whenever you pull that up, it like drops out my window. You're good. I'll put it back up. Yeah, I believe it's dual overhead cam. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. With 26,000 miles, I will attach some pictures as Matt is displaying. Why is it doing that?
Sorry.
No, you're good. I wish it didn't do that. But here's the first question. The guy I bought it from told me the second carb is overflowing. So I guess something related to the needle of the floating element cleaning and new parts will solve the issue, ? I think. But I also was watching some videos from you, Cody, and it can, I don't know what he's saying. It is intimidating the way these carbs work, or it can be intimidating the way these carbs work. Comment on the side. I have a couple of motorcycles and I have my hand on them with no problems. But wrenching this Honda CB750, the carburetors at least look to be more complicated. ? Let me first list Hayabusa 2006 first gen. Awesome. Job done. Clutch friction plates and new clutch mod done. Sleeve, clutch piston and master clutch and bleed fluid done. Reinforced slave piston installed. Oh, I wonder, did they have an issue with the it says clutch friction disc and new clutch mod done. I wonder if there's an issue with the clutch system. Reinforced slave piston installed.
So it sounds like it has a hydraulic clutch and there's some, I don't know,
modification to it or something.
Yeah.
I haven't heard. I don't know. I also have a Kawasaki Concourse 1000 1986. Pulled the carbs out clean, reinstalled in sync, plus back brake completed and replaced. Front brakes clean, all good. 2 brand new Chinese CT750 clones, but they're 125cc. Also carbs replaced for Mikuni, original Japanese, all good. The last is a Kawasaki Versus 650 with just add stuff to make it beautiful, but nothing more, just making it look better. So just a bunch of external mods. Okay. That is all for now. I can offer you a list of beers that I like so you can try them around your area. Stella or Trois from Belgium. Sapporo. Sapporo is good beer. You can get that at your local Japanese place or anywhere. Quilmes from Argentina. Heineken from Holland, and Burma from Brazil. So you can take a little taste from around the world. Again, thanks for all the effort and time you guys put into the show. I personally value a lot. Your friend from New Jersey, Justo. Here's our guy. It's Justo. Cool. So, all right. So let me go back to what you're looking at. Because if you put in the pictures that he showed, was it of any of the issues that he's facing, or was it just of the bike that he has?
Just of the bike.
Okay. So, Justo, I will just plug in right now that I believe that this model has the carburetors that are looked identical to the CB900, which is the master class that I just made for the 900. And I think even in the description of the 900 product, I also state that it will cover the later 750s. These are the aluminum top metal piston style carburetors. And Justo, I have what you need, brother. I have what you need to go through those carbs. They are complicated. Reason being is that most carb cleans on inline fours, when you go to split them, there's a lot less to take apart now in the 90s, 2000s than there were back then. Back then, you're taking apart things like the choke butterflies, sometimes the throttle plates, but mainly it's the choke butterflies. And because they separated all, it's not just like one rod that runs through the carbs. They separate it into two and then put a little clock spring and all this crazy stuff that kind of all connects in the middle. And it can it can be more complicated because of that. Because if you screw that kind of stuff up, you're in the ruin the whole carb zone. Because like the butterfly plates, you have to unscrew the two screws, and then when you go to put them back in, if you cross thread those or if you don't peen them from behind, the screws can literally be sucked down into the motor if they become loose. So like there's some vital steps in there, as well as these are the carbs that use all the felt gaskets, Matt. I'm sure that you've seen those before. And so it can be more intimidating, but like I said, I got what you need, brother. Justo, I got what you need. And we'll put a link in the description for any of you guys facing those later. Only the dual overhead cam. I think what I also realized is like the early 650s, the CB650s also use a similar carb.
Yeah, 80, 81 or whatever, right around that era.
Yep.
Yeah.
Same type of system. Slight difference when it comes to like where the fuel hose goes and those type of things.
Yeah.
But and like jetting, of course, and part numbers, that's different. But that's something that you have to kind of uncover on your own. But they're complicated, yes, but there's an answer, and I got that answer.
Nice. I knew you did.
Yeah.
Now,
thank you.
Your 900, those carbs in your video, they got air cutoffs and accelerator pump.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this model has it, so that's more stuff that he'll need help with, and you covered it. So
air cut. Yeah, we go through it step by step, no steps skipped, and I walk them through them just like as if I had your carbs in my hands. I actually have somebody sending me a set through the interwebs to get set up for them. So Justo, yes, they're complicated. As far as the fuel leak goes, yes, it's going to be float system stuff, but check out the videos and you'll be walked through all of it.
Awesome.
Cool, man. So we have a beer fund to talk about, Matt.
That's right.
AKA the donation bin or the tip jar, AKA tip jar. What's it all about?
Yeah. So, if you guys enjoy the, oh man, I can't. If you guys enjoy the show and want to just send us a little tip, or in other words, buy us a beer, we have a beer fund link. It's in the description. We also have people mailing us beer like this one here, which I'm about to pop open. But yeah, it's just a little thanks, and we do appreciate it. And we have some regular donators like Justo.
Like Justo, the guy you just heard from, and the Fitz.
Yep. So thank you very much, guys. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Did you like that Saison?
I did. I already pounded it.
Pounded it. All right, bro. Take question 2.
I'm gonna try this.
The Dunkel.
The Dunkel.
The Dunkel. I think that's a sour beer.
Is it?
I think it might be. Give her a taste. Let me know. What is that? 20 millimeter wrench? 22?
7/8.
7. Oh, okay.
I don't have any metric that big, unfortunately.
I got 20, 22, 24. The Maxels.
Yeah, I just use sockets.
That's the way to go.
Because I mean, it works. So
is it a sour beer?
Oh, I forgot to taste it. A little bit, yeah.
Okay. It's a Dunkel.
Yeah, it's good.
Cool.
It's cold.
Sweet. It's cold. All right, man. Question 2. Hit it up.
All right. This one's from Phantom Lord. 07 Sabre Jetting. A Sabre is what, a Honda, right?
Yep.
All right. Hi, I submitted a question before about the sludge from the fuel pump breather. Haven't seen any more of it. Okay, he's got a new problem. So I threw Cobra dragster pipes on it, baffles in, and scheduled an appointment for a rejet as recommended by everyone. It ran fine. I got some diesel popping back, which I had totally cured, but otherwise I noticed no change. So it sounds like he got diesel popping after the rejet. That's how I'm reading this. Again, I only scheduled a rejet because everyone says you have to, so it's a dyno jet kit. The mechanic I took it to said because of our elevation here in Salt Lake City, about 4,200 feet, that the dyno jet specs would make it too rich. I don't know about that, but I said personally, I thought it should go up a couple sizes. The kit calls for a needle and clip 3, 170 main front, 175 rear. When using the high flow exhaust, he put 165 front and 170 rear. That's for a stock exhaust. And he put the clip in position 2. I had a massive, loud diesel popping when I got it back. Way worse than I've ever heard from this bike. I took it on the freeway and started hesitating and jerking at 80 miles an hour. Again, never happened before. I took it back to him and he said that he put the jets that the kit calls for. Honda doesn't suggest any high altitude adjustments until like 7,000 feet, right? Question mark. He gives it back and tells me he thought it was too rich and he leaned it out more by lowering the clip by one position with a single shim washer. So that sounds weird because if you're lowering it,
Right.
you can't shim it up. So we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
Needless to say, it has the exact same problem as it had after he rejetted to begin with. He claims that he pulled some spark plugs, and they were very dark, indicating a rich mixture. I pulled 2 of the plugs and they both looked like this. To me, this plug looks lean, wouldn't you say? What do you think about the elevation of 4,200 feet? Does that really require significantly leaner jetting and factory recommendations from both Honda and DynoJet? Do those specs settings sound correct with Cobra drag pipes? 165 front, 170 rear with clip in position 1.5. Stock airbox. Everything else is stock. All right. Well, it sucks that he took this in and it's not running correctly. I mean, I think the shop that he's dealing with should make it right.
Yeah,
somehow.
I'm upset that the guy who did the tuning, like, it sounds like he didn't go and test ride it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
which is like the final thing that you need to do.
Yeah,
to see if there's any change. He probably just rode around out front, but he needs to. Yeah, and that could have been because of communication. You know, if you say that there's a hesitation at 80 now, he needs to go and ride it at 80 to figure that out. But that's his fault.
Yeah. So I mean, well, okay. First off, the DynoJet kit will come with a needle and main. It probably won't come with a pilot.
Maybe even a couple mains. Yeah.
Yeah, a couple mains and a needle. It focuses on that circuit. They usually never come with pilot jets.
Agreed.
And the diesel popping is all in your pilot and fuel screw setting.
Agreed.
So you could probably go back and adjust the fuel screws yourself.
Yeah.
I got a video. Cody's got a video. And it's probably a little lean.
Yeah. Usually that's what diesel pop is.
Yeah. So I mean that could be just that. Okay. So that's one circuit. That's for idle, cruise. That's 0 to 1/8 throttle positions. And then the diesel pop, of course, is all in that circuit.
Right, because the throttle's closed at this point. If you're decelling, the throttle is fully closed. So it's trying to suck what it can from those circuits. That's why.
Yeah. And then next up is the issue you're having at 80 miles an hour. I don't know what throttle position you're at. I'm assuming you're cruising at 80. So you're probably half throttle, maybe. Yeah,
maybe even more. I believe this is a VT 1100.
Okay.
Sabre, I believe. So yeah, he's cruising that around that.
Okay, so you're all on the needle at that point.
Yeah.
So, well, I don't know what's it doing? Hesitating?
Yeah, it's just hesitating. Which what was his name? Dark Lord or something like that.
Phantom Lord.
Phantom Lord. There it is. Phantom Lord. What you could also be interested in looking at is the fuel pump output as well. Fuel pump, because those have one of those pressured fuel pump doohickeys. Usually they show themselves around 60, but if it's starting to fail a little bit, I could see it starving for fuel at 80,
Okay.
where it needs all the fuel that it can get. So I have a video on that as well, Matt. It's a volume output on the 1100. How to check the volume output exactly per Honda spec to see if it's putting out what it should. So that might help him too. That he can do on his own for sure. But I think you're right on the money. I mean,
now, well, remember, it sounds like this is a new problem after the rejet.
correct.
So
Correct. That's also correct. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so going back to the needle,
Mhm.
where was I going with it?
Did he
Okay.
have pictures of the spark plugs, of the new spark plugs?
Yeah, he did. We can get to that.
Okay.
But here's the thing that I was going to say about those plugs is I don't think that plug was chopped. It
Mhm.
was just he was running it around all different throttle positions and then he pulled it. So that doesn't really help us determine. I mean, we can talk about it, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What I'm curious of is, like, were there new spark plugs in prior to the technician pulling them out? Because if they're not, and they were just the plugs that were in there, him pulling them out, like, oh, it's kind of black, it might be rich, is a false statement, because plugs that are old look black as well.
Yeah, that's
You know what I
true
mean?
too. But what I was saying is, let's say you have a lean needle
Yeah.
and you're just putting around on the pilot,
Right.
you're going to come to the conclusion that it's
Lean.
You're going to start messing with the needle and you haven't even diagnosed that area yet of the throttle position.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying. So,
and their clip, the clip position description of this really jacks me all up.
yeah.
I'm not sure where he's at. I mean, he says 1.5. So is that saying, because you count clip position from top down?
Yes.
Yeah. So 1.5 would be one with a shim, is what it sounds like.
Yeah. I don't know.
Because there is no 1.5. I mean, there's 1,
No.
2, 3, 4, so
Yeah.
it's got to be with a shim. So he's leaning it out by, what did he say? Said the technician said it was lean.
Well, well, the last paragraph, second to last, it says it was too rich. So he leaned it out by lowering the clip, which was actually he raised it and then he shimmed it,
which would be richening it.
So yeah, so I'm not sure what was going on with that.
Exactly. It's very confusing.
Well, here's what I would do. When you're cruising at 80 and it starts to hesitate, turn on the choke and see how it responds. I don't know how the choke's going to work in that situation, but another thing you can do is take some masking tape and tape up the air intake to richen it, just as a quick test. Okay.
Yeah.
See what happens, and then you'll know if it responds better to any of those. It needs more fuel.
Right.
Okay. Or you can put brand new plugs in it, go 80 miles an hour, have it hesitate, go do that for a minute or two straight, then immediately kill the bike and pull the plugs and see what the plug looks like.
That's a good idea.
And then you're pinpointing that area and what the air fuel is doing at that exact point.
Yeah. As far as the elevation stuff goes, Matt, do you have a little insight on, like, what he's talking about?
Yeah. So when you go higher up in elevation, the air is thinner. You need less fuel as well.
Less fuel, right.
There is a jetting correction table. You can Google it and it has a correction factor. So usually at this altitude, you go up and it's a multiplier. So you would multiply this by like 0.98 or 0.96, and then you deduct from your main.
Right. And that's just like a really guesstimate.
Yes.
Information. It's never spot on, guys.
Sure.
It's just a place to start. If it were me, if it was my bike, I would put, I don't know how mechanically inclined Phantom Lord is, or if he feels like screwing with it, but I would put the stock needles back in and shim them. And then I would start messing with the jets. That's just my opinion. I really dislike those jet kit needles. I think they're just a little bit too dramatic. I'm dealing with one right now on a VTX 1300, and I'm trying to tune around this jet kit that he put in it, and I'm like, dude, I can just make this work so much better if you had the stock stuff. Like, just the transition period's way more. But that's my 2 cents. I would put the stock needles back in, and then bring the mixtures out to like 3 to 3.5 if you want, and then see where you're at with the main jets. I mean, because he says, because everyone says to do it. I disagree with everyone. I just do. I think that you could have gotten away with stock jetting and a shim and a mixture adjustment without even opening the carbs up, and with those exhausts, and be fine. That's just what I'm gonna say.
So with the dyno jet, they may come with springs for the slide. I don't know if there's any drilling for this year making, you know what I'm saying? So that screws everything up.
It does, man.
I don't know if you can go back.
Dude, I
don't know.
It burns my biscuit to know that they want you to drill through a freaking $100 part and ruin it forever. But
I know it sounds like you dislike that stuff a lot, but I've installed a few of them and they ran fine.
And I've heard that too.
I mean, maybe it's just who installs it and who tunes it. I don't know.
Yeah, and that could be. I've never bought in a kit, installed it, and then been satisfied, in my experience. But I've heard stories just like yours. I've heard, even guys at the shop. One of the guys at the shop did one to a Nighthawk 750, put a dyno 3 or 2 in it, and he drilled everything out and did all of it. And he said it ran. He's like the fastest one he's ever been on. And I was like, whatever, dude. But that was probably 10 years ago, and you probably don't remember how much shit you went through to try to do it. That's just me, but I have heard good stories about it as well, so I won't bag on it too hard.
But I mean, like Phantom Lord, if I were you, I would go back to the shop. You paid you're probably $400 plus into this, and you don't have a well running bike. So I would be like, drop it off and be like, dude, you got to make this run right.
Right, and tell them exactly what's happening. Tell them there's backfire that was not there before. Tell them to run it at 80. This is the issue at 80. Yeah. And tell him to tell you what he thinks, because he's like, oh, well, it was a problem there. Well, like, okay, cool. Now take care of it.
Yeah, because I mean, man, you're spending good money on this, obviously.
Yeah.
See if they'll make it right.
Yeah. I agree. He needs to stand behind what he's doing.
Yep.
Cool. Question 3.
Go for it.
Hey guys, Chris Kelly here. I live in Willwood. Oh, I've been to Willwood, New Jersey. They have the sand races at Willwood. They take a bunch of vintage bikes from like World War II or something, and they race them on the beaches in New Jersey, dude.
Really?
It's so dope. It's so dope. I went there like 3 or 4 years ago. It was awesome. Willwood, New Jersey. I have Halo Demon's Eyes that I installed on my 2013 Ninja 300. And, I don't know.
Period.
The Ninja 300. But I have no idea how to connect them. I have installed over $1,000 in mods so far, but I can't figure the electrical out. If you guys have time, maybe you can help. Did he give us anything else?
Nope.
Cool. So, I imagine that the Halo is like the light with the ring around it.
Yeah.
Let me Google this real quick. Halo.
So I mean, Chris, you should have provided us a link to the actual part you had.
Yeah.
So that way we can research. Because I mean, I Googled it and I was like, dude, there's a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff for cars pulls up and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I was
exactly
hoping
what just pulled up.
Yeah. So
just to see if we can give any inch of help, what I would say is you're going to have a bunch of wires, and then you're going to have a ground wire. You got to figure out, hopefully they gave you some type of Japanese writing in your instructions that's by like the size of a Post-it note. And it's going to tell you, like, maybe figure out which wire is the ground wire for the system. Maybe black. Sometimes it's white. Usually, hopefully it's green. One of those three colors are usually some type of ground. Take an external battery. Do you hear that?
Yeah, what was that?
Dude, these guys ride these four-wheelers for hours.
Really?
These Chinese four-wheelers. I saw a Honda out there. They ride them around the block. And they just rip on them, dude, all day.
That's hilarious. Do you go out and yell at them or join them?
I want to just stand in my driveway and yell at them, but some of them rip. I think one of them is one of the 400EXs. He's got a pipe on it.
Yeah.
But
do they know you fix stuff?
No, I don't think so.
better
they have no idea.
Better keep that quiet.
I mean, honestly, I don't like having my garage doors open, so I'd rather not. Just because I'm like, you never know, man.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
You know what I mean? Like, I got a lot of stuff in here, so I'd rather just give them the 2 peace signs and have fun. You know?
Yeah.
I don't want to fix your four-wheeler. I don't want you to find out what I have in here. So, so yeah, what I was saying was, like, if you get like some kind of external battery and some jumper leads, you can start probing, like, just once you find out which wire is a ground wire, hopefully they'll tell you. Because I can't tell you, Matt can't tell you, but you can start adding, like, just take your jumper wire, one on ground on the battery, one on power, and you can start finding out what light does what. Right? Make sure they all work. You're going to have the halos light up. You're going to have a high beam, maybe a low beam, whatever they got. And then you can start to plan your attack from there. You can kind of grab a wire, put some blue tape around it, say power, halo, power, running light. Likely, they're going to want the halo lights to be lit all the time. And you can run that with the low beam power. So on your old bike, or on the old headlight, there's going to be 3 wires. It's going to be a ground, a high beam, and a low beam power wire. 3 wires, super easy. On your new one, it's probably like 10 wires, you know, because it's probably a cheap, no offense, offline, off eBay, something like that, because the factory is not selling you that. I can guarantee it. So that's what I would do. Probe around, find out which one's power, which one's ground, mark them, and then hook it up the way that it should be. Figure out which bulb is brighter. That's obviously going to be your high beam. Which one's lower? That's going to be your low beam. Then you're probably going to wire the halo section to the low beam, which then goes to the low beam power. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. That's all I can give them.
I mean, the only thing you're introducing here is the halo, which needs 2 wire hookup.
Yeah. So
ground and power.
An additional ground. Yeah.
So that's it. I mean, that's in my mind.
Yeah.
That's the best advice.
And it's LED, so it's a light emitting diode. Diodes function by sending power one way. So if you hook up the wire and it doesn't work, try flipping the wire, because then it may light up. You know what I mean? So that's what happens when you buy that Chinese stuff, man. Probably power ground for the halo, power ground for the low beam, power and ground for the high beam. And then you're trying to figure all this crap out when you're just going to be conjoining a bunch of wires and going into one circuit. So
cool.
I think that's it, man.
All right.
That's it. That's all I got.
That was a fast episode too, man.
Fast episode, bro.
Under an hour. Can you believe that?
I can't believe it, but we are here. We have entered into a time zone. We were actually shooting this on Saturday night for you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Moving forward, or in the spring, summer, I mean, all my kids are in activities now.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna go much later, and it doesn't get dark till 9, so it's gonna be tricky scheduling things.
Got it.
You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
In the winter, there's nothing going on. It gets dark at 4, dude. So it's pretty easy to meet up. But
Is there a better day than Tuesday?
I don't know, dude. We'll have to work that out. I mean,
Okay, because I get home. I would say I get home with enough time at around 5:30, 5:45 every day.
Okay.
Because Tuesdays I'm off all day. So any other day besides on Mondays, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I can hit anything after 5:30.
Yeah.
If that works better for you.
Yeah, that's probably 4:30 my time. That's when we're cooking dinner.
Yeah.
Terrible time for me.
Right. Well, I'm not saying at 5:30, but if we push it to the 7 o'clock your time.
Yeah.
And there's a better night where there's no activities, we can work around that for sure.
Yeah, we'll figure it out, dude.
Yeah.
Cool.
So we'll shoot next episode Tuesday, maybe. I mean, if it's only one episode, then we can kick it at 9.
Yeah.
Because it's only one. Like I was just concerned last week with like it being to like 11:30, 12
No,
o'clock.
yeah, I understand. Yeah, let's
You know
talk
what I mean?
and let's talk. Yeah, that'll work.
If it's just one episode, we can run that all day long.
Mhm.
That's fine with me.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sounds good, man.
Bro, I appreciate you.
Yeah,
Matt.
thanks, man. Thanks for joining in.
Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. This is episode 34, Broken Moto Show. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, you just want to say what's up, send us an email. What is that email again, Matt?
askbrokenmoto@gmail.com.
That's it. We don't need to repeat ourselves as far as the rules and regulations go. We'll see you guys next time.
That's right. Thank you.
Later.